Welcome to another episode on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to look at Amazon Q and what the hell it actually is and how you can find out where Q helps you and where Q is maybe in the way. This video has been recorded in May 2025, so if you're watching this video later, don't expect that everything is still the same. But I think, especially in May 2025, you have the challenge that Amazon Q can mean so many different things and that it's really hard to find out what actually is going on. And so this video tries to give you a little bit of an overview and tries to identify where Q can help you and what Amazon Q actually does for you. Here's a little scratch pad of what Amazon Q in May 2025 actually means, what different versions and names we have from Amazon Q, and I'm going to spend some time to talk about each of the sections that I have highlighted over here, and we'll try to give you a perspective on where Amazon Q can actually help you. Let's first answer the question what Amazon Q is. Amazon Q is a marketing umbrella where Amazon and AWS combine a lot of different things that they do with generative AI. This is the first question. Why is it called Amazon Q and not AWS Q? Because essentially Q lives in the different AWS services and the different AWS components and technologies that we have. It's not directly an Amazon thing. So which different brandings do we have for Amazon Q? On the left-hand side, you see first there is Amazon Q for business. Then we have Amazon Q in the console. Then we have Amazon Q in the CLI, Amazon Q in the IDE, Amazon Q in GitHub, Amazon Q in GitLab, which they called GitLab Duo, Amazon Q in Code Catalyst. And then we have Q for QuickSight, Q for Amazon Connect, Q for the supply chain. All of these are different things, but they all start with Amazon Q, and this makes it so confusing if you actually mention, oh, I've been using Amazon Q to do XYZ. You always need to add the information around which part of the product have you been using. In the next 2 minutes, we're going to look at the different aspects of it, and we're going to talk about where I have been actually using that on a day-to-day basis. Let's first start with Amazon Q for Business. Amazon Q for Business is your possibility as an AWS client to build your own generative AI solutions, building the same techniques that AWS itself is using. You can host Q for your business in your own AWS account. You can connect a lot of data sources to it. You can use models to analyze the data. You can interact with different aspects of it. You can actually build your own applications with the data sources that you're integrating it. It's a pretty cool tool suite overall, right? Where you can do a lot of things with generative AI to augment the experiences of your users. It lives within your AWS console. Then we do have Q in the AWS console. Q in the AWS console is nothing more than a chatbot. Initially. Nowadays, it can also help you to support, it can also help you to resolve some of the operational challenges that you have. You can ask questions around your resources that you have within your AWS account, even within your organization if you have enabled that. So Q in the AWS console is becoming your first level of support that you can interact with, and your first level of actually getting an understanding over your services. Recently, I've used it to triage a network problem for my EKS cluster. It was able to troubleshoot a lot of the things that you usually do from an EKS perspective. It was then able to tell me where my problem was, and I was then able to actually resolve one of my subnet settings that were incorrect for me to continue to use my EKS cluster. So Q in the console is becoming your first go-to person if you have operational challenges or questions with deployed infrastructure on AWS. Let's talk about Q in the different services. There is about a bunch of brandings where Q as a generative AI capability in different products, and I've not called out everything, adds some generative AI capabilities to an existing service. I haven't looked into those details, but you can think of augmenting QuickSight with supporting you to do the right queries and building the right dashboards. You can think of it like Q, a chatbot being integrated into an Amazon Connect workflow where actually users can talk to that one before it actually gets into the agents that are handling Amazon Connect calls. A lot of these kind of things. There's more than these three. I've just called out that as a portion of what Q is actually able to do. Okay, now we're getting into the things that are more interesting, at least to me, because I'm a developer. On the left-hand side, you see first Q in the CLI. This gives you the possibility to get generative AI assistance into your actual terminal, where you can then ask Q and interact with Q directly from the terminal that you're actually working on. This helps you to speed up some of the scripting and the bash scripting and other things that you want to do with the terminal, and empowers you to do things faster. Which then brings me to this combination down here of on the one side Q in the IDE, where you can actually use Q as an agent and as a coding assistant directly within either Visual Studio Code or Eclipse or IntelliJ. And you can then interact with different capabilities of that agent, right? And also ask that thing to help you analyze errors and problems that you're facing. Similar to Cursor and Copilot, things like that, right? And which then brings us to Amazon Q in GitHub, in GitLab, and in Code Catalyst. So where you can actually directly interact with Amazon Q developer. That's the branding for this portion down here, right? Within your issues, within your workflows, within your pull requests, you can ask the Q developer to execute specific capabilities. Capabilities that we have today is on the one side Q transformation, where you can take a Java application and upgrade it. You have Q development, Q dev, where you can actually ask it to implement features or certain functionalities for you. We then have the Q review, which actually works in all of these four things as well, where you can ask it to review your code or to review your pull request and give you feedback from a security perspective, but also from a best practices perspective. There's other capabilities that are all hidden behind these things, like writing docs, creating tests, and stuff like that, right? And essentially, you can think of these four different possibilities to interact with the capabilities of Q Developer, which I think will grow in the next few weeks and months. I think this is the portion that, at least for me, is the most interesting and most appealing one, right? As we looked in some of the other videos that I also created, you can use Q Developer to generate workflows. You can use Q Developer to create code for you, and I think that is pretty powerful, right? But the quality is not yet good in the same way that I would expect that to be. Okay, quick summary. So Q is a marketing umbrella for a lot of generative AI capabilities that AWS has been building. I don't know why it is called Amazon Q. It is not the Q that we know from the Enterprise and Star Trek world. And it has a specific capability for developers. On the one side, the Q CLI that you can use to use Q in your terminal. On the other side, Q Developer, which can be used in different flavors. From one side within your IDE. Other possibilities is to interact with Q either in GitLab, GitHub, or Code Catalyst. Unfortunately, there have not been much changes to the Code Catalyst implementation in the last few months, even though that would have been the most powerful implementation for the teams working on Amazon Q. If you are using Amazon Q, either any of the options that you have, or if you're interacting with Q Developer and you have challenges or questions around that, please let us know in the comments so I can take that to the team and see how the AWS team can improve the interaction with that. If you find Amazon Q to be a completely stupid thing, please also let me know in the comments, because that's something that AWS wants to hear. I personally, I'm not sure yet whether the code quality and the interactions with it are good enough to make me happy, but I'm looking forward to see what the team is going to bring in the next few months, and also how it's going to change the way that we look at code and the way that you interact with code and coding agents, right? Because there is a lot of movement in this space, and a few of you have heard of Kiro, which has been leaked. Looking forward to see how this is going to look like, yeah, exciting times. Thank you for watching. If you like this kind of stuff, please let me know in the comments and subscribe if you haven't yet. And other than that, I'm looking forward to see you soon.